segmentation is ultra important as an emailer because it's the single biggest lever that you have to impact your sender score, either positively or negatively. And so when we think about our segmentation strategy, we really want to build it off of how you are being analyzed as a sender. And what these inbox providers really care about is recent engagement. That means if you are sending to people on a list, they want to see that those users being mailed regularly have engaged with your emails in the recent past. Now, what is engagement and what is recent? Essentially, what this means is if a user has had 15 to 20 to 30 opportunities to engage and they have not opened, that is an unengaged user. If they have had 15 to 20 opportunities to engage and they have, that is an engaged user. So for different senders and depending on your sending cadence, the actual definitions of how far back do you look to find engagers can be different. If I'm a daily sender, right, where I'm sending 7 emails a week, after 30 days, that user is going to have had 30 opportunities to engage. So if I'm a very regular sender, my engaged segment probably looks like opened in the last 30 days or clicked in the last 60. Now, if I'm a not as frequent sender, those timeframes are going to expand, right? So you might set your engaged segment as have they opened in the last 60 days and have they clicked in the last 120 days. Apart from your engaged segmentation, it also is a good practice to segment out your unengaged users, right? These are the users that you want to avoid sending regularly, but there are still strategies that you can use to win them back. And an unengaged segment typically looks like anyone who has been mailed but not opened in the last 60 days. Again, depending on how often you are mailing these users. Poor segmentation really can hurt you in 2 different ways. If you're going about mailing just everybody who's ever signed up or everybody who's ever purchased, right? If you're mailing someone who made a purchase 2 years ago, but they haven't opened an email in the last 6 months, that's actually going to hurt your deliverability, but it's also just going to hurt your cash flow because you do pay for every email sent. So if you're paying to send mail to these users who are not engaging and not adding any value, not only are you taking a hit on the pure unit economics and the cost side of things, but by mailing and continuing to mail those users, it actually does hurt your deliverability, which can prevent or hinder the inbox placement of mail going out to your engaged users. So when we think about this concept of engaged versus unengaged audience, that engaged audience is where you should focus your regular sends to. But there is still value in these users who have not engaged recently. It becomes tricky, though, of knowing which ones you should target in that unengaged segment, because similar to your segmentation building, you really want to try and focus on only re-engaging users that have still been active. And this is where Auto Reactivate and the Retention Reactivate product comes into play. We monitor open signals across hundreds of thousands of newsletters daily, and we get millions of open signals every single day. So with that unengaged segment that you've built, the best way to prioritize who you try to engage next is by using Auto Reactivate and identifying who are the users who are still active but have not recently engaged with my mail. With more details on how to actually execute that and to successfully win back these users, we're going to dive into using Auto Reactivate and the segmentation strategies around Auto Reactivate in our next video.